Welcome to the CPTM Smart Partners Hub in London. The CPTM Smart Partners Hub, as you know, is not very far from St James's Park, and which is not very far from Buckingham Palace, where the head of the Commonwealth does her function. And although it is quite cold here still, the early signs of more spring than before in February are on in the park. There are sort of snowdrops, squirrels, young lambs, etc. But the February is usually known and celebrated all over the Smart Partnership movement, Smart Partnership community, and alongside the traditions and the cultural undertakings, such as those that are coming this week. So the Smart Partners who are celebrating the Chinese New Year, we wish them Happy New Year and the best of luck and the best of the Smart Partnership wishes to you and families and institutions that you are part of. Again, we are kind of looking through entering the Chinese mind of Zhou Zhang, the sonnets, but also the other day I found some lucky Chinese candies, not candles, and which we bought for all those Smart Partners Chinese in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, and wherever else in UK that are celebrating this week on Thursday evening and Friday, and then a few days to come. Before that, just before that, before 15th of February, there is yet another more modern tradition that is associated with spring again, and this is referred to as the Valentine, and the Valentine is usually red, therefore I mean red, and the red roses are usually a symbol for the Valentine heart. Now, this is a chocolate red rose. Who knows where the cocoa comes from? But were we to use probably distributed ledger technology, we may find the provenance of the chocolate. And we'd like to wish each and every Valentine Happy Valentine's Day 2018, and in particular Happy Valentine's Day to Sophia Robot. And we wonder if through artificial intelligence, machine learning, Sophia the robot have already learned how to receive and what to do, and if by any chance her heart is beating when receives a rose. So here it is, a rose for all the Valentines in Smart Partnership community, including to the artificial intelligence, Sophia, and others of that nature to come. The first part of this email, that is a message that is being sent to you in this very special week, is related to many thanks and a few highlights to all those Smart Partners who have actually alerted the CPTM about their priorities, activity priorities during this year, as far as possible connected to the CPTM Smart Partnership inclusive initiatives taken forward from 2017, a more successful year in terms of CPTM financial inclusion, quality and standards, inclusion, national visioning, security and state, etc. So just to selectively to give an idea of what the Smart Partners members in the CPTM Smart Partnership movement have been are preoccupied with, and they would like you to know about it. Dr. Alan Smith from UK, he would continue to want to further make aware the CPTM Smart Partners on the impact and applications of nanotechnology. And the nanotechnology developments have been very much part of the CPTM Smart Partnership dialogues in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Zambia, in Malaysia, and in South Africa with the Department of Science and Technology, as well as with NECF in Zimbabwe with the Ministry of Science and Technology. So she continues to be available for road mapping on the impacts of nanotechnology. NECF, the National Economic Consultative Forum, from Harare, their priorities for 2018 are related to convening public-private sector dialogues among key economic players in the country in the new geopolitical context. Advancing and carrying out research on major economic issues with a view to promoting evidence-based policy making, and building smart partnerships with similar hubs within the Southern African region. For the next 3 to 5 years, and they are always very well organized, NECF, they would like to increase the visibility and the impact of the national hub, NECF, beyond the country's borders, and also to contribute to the transformed public-private dialogue in Zimbabwe. I don't know if he's talking about transform Zimbabwe or transform public-private dialogue, but I suppose the adaptation is required on both. And thank you to Norman Chakanadze for this. Oliver Oram is a private sector from Chainvine, founder and chief executive, very active and supporter of the emerging digital landscape as a main initiative, impacting on all the other initiatives. And among building technology, which is his highest priority, around the distributed ledger technology and its applications to trade, etc., he articulated and offered, alongside other colleagues of his, support for developing a CPTM Technical Rapid Response Advisory Unit. The unit would be responsible and on call for all the CPTM Smart Partners, and the sole purpose is to equip ministers, governors and commissioners with the right knowledge in cryptocurrency, blockchain, distributed ledger technologies. With the rapid adoption and use of these technologies, the team will be able to provide vital knowledge that partners need when making decisions about the use of such technology in their countries and among themselves. And he would be very happy to offer any kind of help in forming both the team and the collaborations among the smart partners, as well as the best resources for it. Complementing Oliver Oram, the CPTM SMART partner Dato Hussein Jazri, who was involved in the formation of the foundation of the Cybersecurity Unit Institute in Malaysia, lately being at the university in Namibia. He said that, dear Datuk, the formation of CPTM Technical Service Union is very welcome and most timely, and in my view should not be only limited to specific issues like cryptocurrency, even though we know this is a very important peer-based currency which affects many lives. I would suggest that CPTM be even more open and galvanize member countries' expertise to address a whole lot more issues such as cybercrimes benchmarking, cybersecurity governance effectiveness study, cybercrimes neighborhood watch project, and many more. The operating mode could be not for profit, but certainly at an advisory level with contributions towards resourcing this capacity, and I would be ready to be part of such a strategic CPTM technical unit. Another private sector, still from Emerging Digital Landscape Initiative, and that is from Object Tech, the founder, Mr. Paul Ferris. He happens to be also chairman of the subcommittee of the International Standard Organization's Technical Committee 307, Working Group 2, which is particularly preoccupied with the drafting of a technical report towards a blockchain distributed ledger technology first standard, and in particular in the working group that he's chairing is preoccupied with identity, security and privacy. He, on a professional basis, would very much welcome and encourage feedback from the CEOs of national standards bureaus who are part of the CPTM Quality Standards Inclusion Network, and those particularly who are not part of the technical committee, but those who would, on a professional basis, would like to give a feedback to his committee. So he will be acting for that, and that will probably prove that the NSBs, even in developing countries, could actually increase their strategic role. Also from Object Tech, Pete Sweetnam, another private sector, is currently together with CPTM trying to put together a basis of a longer term training program with support, financial support, over the 2 years in about 10 countries within the Commonwealth in relation to fintech, cryptocurrency, and any other applications of distributed ledger technology. Specifically, the address is central banks in the Commonwealth as a direct follow-up from the think tanking of central banks, which is taking place in the last 7 years or so. Another national hub from Lesotho, the Smart Partnership Hub in Prime Minister's Office, headed by Silas. He sent a briefing which he made to the Right Honourable Prime Minister and the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister and the Permanent Secretary of the Cabinet, Economic Affairs and Administration. And this submission was based on the participation of the Honourable Minister of the Prime Minister's Office in the think tanking and annual general meeting at the end of October 2017, for which we are very grateful. And there is a very thorough proposal. I would probably simply give a few examples of objectives of the put forward, which is to facilitate national dialogues and for different specialized smart partners links operating under the auspices of the hub in Prime Minister's Office, such as political, media, labor, social, arts and culture, youth, smart 29ers, and academia links. To participate in small, micro, medium enterprise and global Southern African smart partnership dialogues. To facilitate private sector initiatives, dialogue for the improvement of the Lesotho economy. To coordinate the sources of funding for the support of the Basotho, and there are examples such as sources of funding from South African mines for affected ex-miners and Basotho development, for and similar projects of that nature. Then there is a proposal to coordinate and develop think tanking sessions for different ministries, such as Ministry of Science and Technology with the Department of Appropriate Technology, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Ministry of Small Business and Cooperatives and Marketing, to facilitate mini dialogues responding to poverty reduction programs in the districts of Thaba Tseka, Leribe, Berea and Mafeteng, and to promote broad participatory frameworks on formulation, implementation and review of national economic policy. So well done to the National Smart Partnership Hub in Lesotho for having such a broad and in-depth program and of priorities for 2018-19. From Malaysia, CPTM Smart Partner Izam Khairuddin. He is actually with the Communication and Multimedia Consumer Forum of Malaysia. He is director of the Communications and Multimedia Consumer Forum of Malaysia. And his main priority is to enhance productive and meaningful dialogue for win-win-win outcomes within my circles of influence, that is within the consumer associations. And he complemented with a detail which he could complement with even furthermore, saying that ever since I became part of the Consumer Forum Malaysia, I've managed to enhance the practice of smart partnership ethos in how we do things, particularly in development of codes of practice for the industry through continuous dialogues through all sides to achieve win-win-win situations. And both the supply, commercial services provider, as well as from the demand side, consumer association, academia, and other relevant organizations. And he would be gladly sharing his practice with the CPTM Smart Partners. Very important, the consumers. And today, we just brought in from the Institute of Directors 10 consumer trends for 2018. From India, Dr. Ashok Jain, a founder of the CPTM, he is currently with the International Forum for Global Knowledge in New Delhi, And his preoccupations and priorities for the next 3 to 5 years is research in data analytics and econophysics. He's a physicist, so econophysics, I suppose, Ashok, it means economics and physics. That means new economics. I suppose not necessarily new physics, but you never know. So thank you, Ashok, and we want more details about data analytics and econophysics. From Namibia, Dr. Kakunga, Oti Kakunga, a very active smart partner in Namibia, formerly the chief executive of Namibian Standard Institutions, where Rosie Jacob currently is still a part of the managing team. Oti Kakunga, he is currently board chairperson of the Namibian Business and Intellectual Property, BIPA, and his main interest, and therefore exchange of practice in this area, is for efficient registration of business and protection mechanisms of intellectual property. So we will come back to you, and thank you very much for bringing in again the dimension of intellectual property. I will try to skip, still in Namibia, CBTN Smart Partner Henny Fourier. He is a development planner. He was chairman of the Manufacturing Association in Namibia, and his main interest as a private sector is to contribute to economic development in Namibia, particularly in tourism and manufacturing. Very great smart partner, and obviously tourism, manufacturing and industrialization priorities requiring development planning abilities, and we will get some feedback from him for others who are in the same area. Shelton Kanyanda. Shelton Kanyanda was, as we know, alongside Dr. Albina Achua, part of the initiation of the CPTM National Statistics and Data Inclusive Initiative. He was in OECD in Paris when he supported Dr. Albina Achua from Tanzania, the chief executive of the National Statistics Office in Dar es Salaam. Currently, he is in World Bank in Rome. He's a senior economist, and his preoccupation is developing capacity in household surveys in developing countries. Very useful to know of his functions and to be approachable, and as we get involved into broadening the national statistics activities. Charity Kruger in Botswana. Charity was the head, a very successful head of the National Agricultural Research and Technology Institution in Kenya, in Botswana, following which she became the head of the National Vision 2016 Secretariat, and right now she is with the Center for Environment, Agriculture Research and Advocacy, and she would very much want for the center to become part of the CPTM family. So we very much welcome her and will be in touch with her activities. Peter Season. Peter Season is a part of the Smart Partners British Standards Institute team, alongside David Bell and of course Dr. Scott Stedman, the chief executive, and Nick Fleming and Tim McGarrett and Emily and so many others in British Standard Institute. Peter, on behalf of everybody else, as head of international engagement, their priorities are stated as in relation to British Standard Institute as a global thought leader in the development of standards of best practice for business and industry. As we know, BSI was formed in 1901, was probably the world's first national standard body and a founding member of ISO. BSI is focused on business improvement across the globe, working with experts in all the sectors of the economy to develop codes, guidance, and specifications that will accelerate innovation, productivity, and support growth. BSI is renowned as the originators of many of the world's best-known business standards, and in sectors such as automotive, aerospace, built environment, food, healthcare, ICT, among others. The priorities for the 2018 and the next few years are to support the development of a Commonwealth standards network, to share best practice for the support of intra-Commonwealth trade, to develop and deliver standard development and standardization solutions to meet stakeholder needs, to facilitate innovation and business growth. So thank you to BSI. And finally, just one other example of a completely different kind, the NEXI, the National Institute in the United States of Complexity Studies, founded and led by its president, Professor Yanir Bar-Yam, who was very much involved a few years ago and continues to engage with and follow our activities of CPTM Smart Partners. He was very keen that we should share among ourselves the 2018 Complexity Studies Institute activities. It's probably an understatement to say that the complexity, the volatility is not the name of the game nowadays. It's probably becoming, as one would say, the norm. And obviously the NEXI, the Institute's research, is probably the leading research global-wise, and it does require a very great attention from everyone that would like to understand the real-time situations that we are following and the patterns that are emerging. As he's calling, the global patterns of synchronization in human communication in relation to the economic dynamics and to everything else. These are a few examples from the CPTM Smart Partners that have been shared with the CPTM since we called for inputs for priorities from CPTM Smart Partners. They will be assembled as part of the 2018 CPTM Cooperative Framework with focus and support of the institutions, the individuals, and their research, as well as their requirements for progressing their priorities, alongside the CPTM Smart Partners Framework for Inclusive Initiatives, which will be launched as, hopefully, as a new framework within the Commonwealth for the next 2 years, immediately after the Commonwealth Heads of Government Summit in London in April. So thank you very much for all those CPTM Smart Partners and those who haven't yet shared with us, those who haven't yet forwarded their priorities, do please add to those that I selected to mention today. On next Friday, I will be trying to select also some of the short statements that UK Smart Partners have sent in relation to their involvement in CPTM over the years, by the way of their contribution as UK Smart Partners towards the hosting by UK of the forthcoming Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in London. As far as the reading tips and the calendar, I would like particularly to point out that next week, on 19th, the Best World Scientific Festival and Conference is taking place. And this is the American Association for the Advancement of Science, for which I have selected and pointed out a few of the sessions that you may want to look in detail before the SSS, as it's called, scientific sessions will start next week on Monday. And obviously some of them are related to data and computing, engineering and technology, global collaboration, sustainability and resources, and ideas for innovation, as well as the future of artificial intelligence. Do please try to check either by topics or by sessions or by speakers. There are quite a number of African also, for instance, participation, and most interesting what sessions they are going to contribute to. Finally, the usual weekly Nature journal, which is again the best journal for together with its specific journals in Nature Materials, Nature Bio, Nature Neuro, and so on. But the Nature journal this week, which announces that artificial intelligence is driving the next wave of semiconductor innovations. So finally, there is again a hardware upgrade as distinct from the software and algorithm upgrade. Terribly interesting also that as far as the mathematics is concerned, there is an update on the value of different types of mathematics, the topology of mathematics. And I suppose those who are like Professor Harris and Achwewi, mathematicians, they will be very interested to see the way different branches of mathematics are being organically connected to one another and give birth to new dimensions of mathematics. And finally, I would say that the East of Directors, which is present not only in UK, but is present in many Commonwealth countries, had some 10 consumer trends to watch in 2018 identified, as part of their forthcoming open house in 2018, and which will be sometime in March. And very interesting that some of the trends to watch in 2018 are to do with radio. The radio returns, he says, with podcasters rather than other things, with the need for assisted living, for reality bites, for second-hand news, etc. So, with this, I suppose, once again, happy Valentine to all the Valentines and to Sophia the robot, and also happy Chinese New Year to all the smart partners who are celebrating the Chinese New Year, and we along themselves. All the best.